Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG Podcast. I'm Ty Glenn. Hopefully, you guys are having a great day. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm rocking my USA hockey hat because USA won the gold medal in the World Juniors yesterday. Back-to-back gold medals for Team USA in the World Juniors for the first time ever. And I got to be honest, going into overtime against Team Finland, I was kind of nervous. I was really nervous about this game going into overtime because not only did I think the Finns had a good team, but also they beat us in overtime before, not too long ago in this tournament. They beat us in overtime by a final score of 4-3 in this tournament. So I was kind of nervous about this game going into overtime, but we got it done. Teddy Stiga with the overtime game-winning goal to give Team USA the gold medal in the World Juniors. But I got to give it to the Finns. They had a good team. They had a great team. They had great players on the team. Halttunen was a great player. Jesse Kissikin was a good player for Team Finland. Tomas Jurinen was another good player that they had. And the goaltender, Peter Rimpinen, was just outstanding in this tournament. I mean, hopefully the Blackhawks can draft him because the Blackhawks can use the goaltender like him. Rimpinen was outstanding in this tournament. He had a great tournament nonetheless. So even though the Finns had lost and Team USA won, there's not that much to they had a great tournament, I would say. That's another thing I would take away from Team Finland's loss. They had a great tournament. And Ryan Leonard was named MVP when the U.S. won a gold medal. He had 10 points in 7 games played in the tournament. So 5 goals, 5 assists for 10 points in 7 games played in the tournament. He was also the team captain of USA. So he led his team to the gold medal. He takes home the MVP. And that BU line for Team USA, excuse me if I'm getting my words mixed up. That BU line for Team USA was outstanding to watch in this tournament as well. So Team USA wanted to win gold medals. They finally did. They won back-to-back gold medals, and they do it in outstanding fashion, closing out with an overtime win. Cole Hudson, he had a 2-point night in this game as well. 1 goal and 1 assist. James Hagens, future Blackhawk right there. And Brandon Saboya also scored for USA. Trey Augustine made 21 saves and 24 shots faced in net. He's the first goalie in World Juniors history to win 3 straight medals. Because I think not only the back-to-back gold medals, but I think also when Canada won gold medal in 2023, Connor Bedard was on that team then. I think U.S. won the silver medal, or I think either the silver medal or the bronze medal. So he is the first goalie in World Juniors history to win 3 straight medals. And Trey Augustine plays for the Michigan State Spartans, drafted by the Detroit Red Wings, and he really had a great tournament in this as well. For Team Finland, Emily Pieniemi, Jesse Kissikin, and Tomas Jurinen scored for Finland, while Peter Rimpinen made 36 saves on 40 shots faced in net. And I already told you guys my takeaways for this tournament, but it was a great one nonetheless. The next year's World Juniors will be in the state of hockey of Minnesota, which I can't wait for that. What better state or city to have it in than in the state of hockey? Minnesota, Minneapolis at the XL Energy Center, which is home to the NHL's Minnesota Wild. So that will be for the 2026 World Juniors. And as an American, I am very happy that the World Juniors is coming to the state of hockey. And I'm also happy that U.S. won gold medals. We'll see if we can go back to back, win 3 straight gold medals. I don't think no team in the World Juniors has done that before, but we'll see if USA possibly becomes the first one. All right, moving on to the bronze medal game. So Czechia, Sweden. Edward Sale scores the shootout game-winning goal to give the Czechia a 3-2 shootout win over Sweden to win the bronze medal. He also scored in regulation, and Czechia wins back-to-back bronze medals. Of course, last year in the World Juniors, they won a bronze medal. Now this year they won the bronze medal as well. Jacob Stansel also scored in regulation for Team Czechia, and Michael Verbal made 32 saves on 34 shots faced in net. And for Team Sweden, David Edstrom scored both goals, while Marcus Gildroff made 30 saves on 32 shots faced in net. Takeaways, Czechia had an outstanding effort. Excuse me. Had an outstanding effort in the World Juniors. I mean, beating Canada. We didn't think they would beat Canada. They beat some really good teams in the World Juniors in this tournament, and I didn't think they would probably win back-to-back bronze medals. I thought Team Sweden would get it done because Team Sweden also had a great tournament too. I think one of their players, Axel Pandan, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right, he had a hat trick in the first game, and he was an outstanding player for them in this tournament. So I thought Team Sweden would possibly come away with the bronze medals. USA actually beat Sweden last year in the World Juniors to win the gold medal in 2024. So I thought Team Sweden would probably win the bronze medals, but they didn't. But for the entire World Juniors, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the entire World Juniors. Obviously, every hockey fan looks to the World Juniors because it's going to be the possible NHL players that are going to be coming up in this year's draft, like James Higgins. He's eligible to go number 1 overall in the 2025 NHL draft. So World Juniors is always an exciting time of year. Usually airs from after Christmas on December 26th to January 5th. And every hockey fan looks forward to this event. I look forward to this event. It's basically waking up on Christmas morning all happy and ready to open up your gift. And the gift, obviously, is the World Juniors that every hockey fan always looks forward to. It's always the best time of the year, and to see the next best NHL players and prospects in the World Juniors. So I enjoyed this year's tournament, and here's the more to come for Team USA. All right, moving on to the NHL side of things. So Philip Zito, he scored 2 goals in the Rangers' 6-2 win over the Blackhawks Sunday. They end the season series against the Blackhawks 1-1. Of course, the Blackhawks won 2-1 at MSG back on December 9th, and that was the first win for Anders Sorensen in that game. The Rangers were also playing a back-to-back set coming into that one. They lost 7-4 to the Washington Capitals on Saturday, and with the win Sunday, they moved to 18-20-1 of the season. They're 3-7-0 in their last 10 games, and coming into Sunday's game against the Blackhawks, they lost 16 of their last 21 games. So a big win for the New York Rangers right there. Vincent Trocheck, Johnny Bozinski, Will Borgen, and Riley Smith also scored for the Rangers, and Adam Fox, Ryan Lindgren, and Brett Berard each had 2 assists in the game. And Louis Domingue made 25 saves for the Rangers in this one. 12 players on that Rangers roster with at least a point in yesterday's win over the Blackhawks. And for Louis Domingue, that was his first NHL game since November 9th of 2023, which was a 4-1 win over the Minnesota Wild. For the Blackhawks, Tyler Bertuzzi and Wyatt Kaiser scored for Chicago. For Wyatt Kaiser, that is his first NHL goal. I think this is his 77 career game. I'm not 100% sure. They said it on the game yesterday, but I forgot how many games that he played so far in his career. But he finally got his first NHL goal. And Connor Bedard had an assist to extend his point streak to 7 games. That is a career high for him, for the Chicago Blackhawks. And Iris Salvu made 28 saves in the loss, and the Blackhawks have lost 6 of their last 7 games. Excuse me if I'm getting my words mixed up. They lost 6 of their last 7 games, and they moved to 13-25-2 of the season. And kind of funny how some of the Blackhawks games most recently have been like blowout games. So like yesterday they lost 6-2 to the Rangers, and then in the Winter Classic they lost 6-2, and then before the Winter Classic game they lost to Dallas, I think 6-2 in that game. So it's just been like blowout games that the Blackhawks have lost so far, and they're having trouble to find consistency in their game. And I know after the Winter Classic game, according to what I heard on the Spinning Chicklets podcast, Kyle Davidson went into the Blackhawks locker room, addressed the players, told them, gave it to them basically, were hard on them after that Winter Classic game. And it was just, like I said, an embarrassing Winter Classic game right there. So Kyle Davidson gave it to them. And I know Nick Foligno had discussed about it after their loss in the Winter Classic and how they need to be able to find consistency. Like he said, it's okay to lose. Well, actually, you're going to lose some hockey games, but you can't be okay with losing. Basically what he said. So they need to be able to find a way to rack up some more wins because most of their games in January are going to be at home. So they need to find a way to rack up some more wins while the majority of their games is at home. I know the next game is against the Colorado Avalanche Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Of course, that will end their 5-game homestand, which is technically a 4-game homestand because they played at the Winter Classic at Wrigley Field on New Year's Eve, so they technically weren't at home. But their next game is against the Avalanche Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. This will air on TNT and HBO Max, and obviously that's going to be another battle right there. And the Rangers, they return home to face the Dallas Stars Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. All right, moving on to the Islanders and Bruins. So Oliver Wahlstrom, he made his debut. I think is this his first game with the Bruins? I don't know. But this was the first time that he faced the Islanders since being claimed off of waivers for them. And Bo Horvat, he had 2 goals in that game to get the Islanders a 5-4 overtime win against the Boston Bruins. Of course, one of his goals ended up being the game-winning goal, and the Islanders ended their 3-game losing streak, and they moved to 15, 18, and 7 of the season. They're 2-3-0 in their last 5 games. 4-6-0 in their last 10 games, and this was the second of 3 meetings this season between the two teams. The road teams have won the first 2 meetings. Of course, the Bruins won 6-3 against the Islanders on November 27 at UBS Arena, and of course, the Islanders won 5-4 in overtime against the Bruins at TD Garden yesterday. Their final meeting is on February 27 at TD Garden, so let's see if the road teams can complete a sweep in that game. Honestly, also scored twice in the win. He's got 5 goals in his last 5 games, 18 goals this season for Honestly. And Ryan Pulock, he had a goal and 2 assists for the Islanders in this one, while Ilya Sorokin made 26 saves. And for the Bruins, David Pastrnak scored twice in the win. Could have easily saw like 3 hat tricks in one game. Like Bo Horvat had 2 goals, Anders Lee had 2 goals, David Pastrnak had 2 goals. So we could have saw like 3 hat tricks. Imagine that, 3 hat tricks in like one game. Justin Brazeau and Cole Kopecky also scored in the win for the loss for the Bruins, and Jonas Korpisalo made 32 saves in the Bruins. They have now lost 4 straight games, 0-3-1 during the span, and they lost 5 of their past 6 games in the 2017-5 of the season. The Bruins' next game, they play the Oilers Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. The Islanders continue their 3-game road trip against the Golden Knights Thursday at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. All right, another overtime game that happened on the Sunday slate. Hurricanes, Penguins, Sebastian Aho, he scored the overtime game-winning goal in the Hurricanes' 4-3 overtime win against the Penguins. He also had 2 assists for a 3-point night, and he also notched his 600th career NHL point in that game. So 267 goals, 333 assists for 600 career points in 638 games for Sebastian Aho. He has 7 points in his past 5 games, 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points in his past 5, and Carolina moves to 24, 14-2 of the season. They were playing a back-to-back set heading into this one. They lost 4-0 to the Wild Saturday. But on the bright side, they won 5 of their last 10 games, and they sweep their season series meets against the Penguins. They won 4-1 in the Steel City on October 18th, and then they won 5-1 at home at Lenovo Center on November 7th, and now they won 4-3 in overtime at home yesterday on January the 5th. Seth Jarvis, he had a 3.9 in this one, scoring 2 goals and getting 1 assist. Jalen Chatfield also had a goal in the game, and Dustin Tokarski made 16 saves in the win. And for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Erik Karlsson had a goal and assist. Kevin Hayes and Michael Bunting also scored for Pittsburgh, while Alex Nedeljkovic made 27 saves on 31 shots facing net against his former team. And the Penguins finished their 3-game road trip 0-1-2, so no wins on that 3-game road trip for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they moved to 17-7 of the season, and they return home for the start of a 5-game homestand against the Blue Jackets Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, where they will hope to rack up a couple wins because they lost 5 of their past 7 games so far, so not looking so good. So the Penguins look to have a great homestand against the Blue Jackets. The Hurricanes, they will be in Tampa to face the Tampa Bay Lightning Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. All right, another overtime game from the Sunday slate besides the Penguins, Hurricanes, Islanders, and Bruins. We got Flyers and Maple Leafs, and Morgan Riley, he scored the overtime game-winning goal in the Leafs' 3-2 win over the Flyers, and the Maple Leafs moved to 26-13-2 of the season. They won 4 in a row. They were playing a back-to-back set heading into this one. They won 6-4 against the Bruins Saturday, and Matthew Knies, he had a hat trick in that game as well. And Alva Ekman-Larsson and Matthew Knies had scored in this win as well. And Dennis Hildeby made 30 saves for the Maple Leafs. And, of course, Austin Matthews had 2 assists in his second game back after missing the last 6 games with an upper body injury. So he made his first game back since the last 6 games he's missed was on Saturday against the Bruins. Fortunately, I don't think he scored in the win. But Maple Leafs got the win nonetheless, and that's all that matters. For the Flyers, Tyson Foerster and Scott Laughton scored for Philly, while Ivan Fedotov made 22 saves. This was Ivan Fedotov's first NHL start since December 5th for the Flyers, and they lost 2 in a row so far, so not looking so good for the city of brotherly love. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10 games, and they're 17-18-5 of the season. And these 2 teams will meet again Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. That will be on Hulu and ESPN+, so you'll get to watch it there. This time they'll be in Philadelphia instead of Toronto. And moving on to the last game of the NHL slate for Sunday, Ducks and Lightning. Frank Vatrano, he scored twice in the Ducks 4-1 win over the Lightning. He also had an assist for a 3-point night, and he recently signed a 3-year extension contract deal with the Ducks. He has 23 points in 38 games played this season, so 11 goals, 12 assists for 23 points in 38 games played this season, and Anaheim moves to 17-18-4 this season. They won 4 of their last 5 games so far, and Troy Terry, he had a goal and assist for the Ducks for a 2-point night. He currently leads the Ducks in goals with 14, assists with 19, and points with 33. So everything going great so far for Anaheim. And Ryan Strome, he had 2 assists in the win, and John Gibson made 36 saves for his 200th NHL win right there. And for the Tampa Bay Lightning, Jake Gensel scored the lone goal, while Jonas Johansson made 22 saves for Tampa. Of course, the Lightning have lost 4 straight games in regulation for the first time this season, and they were playing a back-to-back set against the LA Kings, and they lost 2-1 on Saturday, and then they lose 4-1 on Sunday, and they moved to 20-15-2 of the season. They are currently a wild card team in the Eastern Conference, so I don't know how many points back they are, how many points ahead they are against the Senators, because I think the Senators are also a wild card team so far, and I don't know how many points they are ahead of them. But the Lightning will head home to face the Hurricanes Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, while the Ducks play the Flames at home Tuesday at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. All right, now we're going to get into the Frozen Confines, takeaways, and recaps. So I'm going to make this short and concise right here. Of course, I got to watch at least some of these games, and I'm going to do my best to recap all games that happened for the Frozen Confines. So we'll start with Ohio State taking on the Michigan Wolverines. Riley Thompson, he had the game-winning goal in that game to give the Buckeyes a 4-3 win over the Michigan Wolverines. And the Wolverines had an early 2-goal lead. Michael Haig scored his 10th goal of the season, but Ohio State erased that 2-goal deficit, and they came back and they won this game against the Wolverines 4-3. So they showed some resilience in this game in overcoming a early deficit. For the Spartans and the Wisconsin Badgers, Michigan State Spartans forward, I think he's a forward, Daniel Russell, he scored the game-winning goal with just 1 second left in overtime, and the Spartans had a 2-0 lead, but Wisconsin rallied to tie the game, and they forced overtime. But it will be the Spartans coming out with the win. So they capitalized on critical opportunities, showcasing their clutch performance under pressure. And for the Wisconsin Badgers, they showed some resilience as well. Despite the overtime loss, they erased a 2-goal lead and they sent this game to overtime. So they had some resilience in them, but they could not come out with the win. For the Wisconsin Badgers and Ohio State's women's hockey team, it was a 4-3. I didn't keep a close eye on this one, to be honest with you guys, but it was a 4-3 shootout win for Ohio State, according to what I saw when I looked this game up. Wisconsin's Kelly Gorbatenko, hopefully I pronounced that last name right, she scored the tying goal in the third period, and the game went to a shootout after a scoreless overtime, and Ohio State had scored 1 goal in the shootout for the win. Takeaways in this one: Wisconsin maintained their unbeaten streak in regulation, showcasing their defensive strength, and Ohio State's shootout victory underscores their proficiency in high-pressure situations. And in the last game for the Frozen Confines, Notre Dame and Penn State. So, of course, Ryan Halliwell scored the shootout game-winning goal to give the Fighting Irish a 4-3 shootout win over Penn State. And this was a back-and-forth affair between the two teams. I mean, both teams kept trading goals after goals after goals after goals after goals, but it would be Notre Dame coming out with the win, and they end their 9-game conference losing streak, gaining a morale boost from this hard-fought victory. Special teams came into play in this one. They were effective, capitalizing on power play opportunities in this game, and their goaltender Nicholas Camp, he was stellar in this game. His performance in the shootout was instrumental in securing the win. And for Penn State, they showed offensive prowess. I mean, with Ben Schultz's quick goal highlighting their ability to start periods strongly. And despite the shootout loss, I felt like they had a great game. I mean, one of the best teams to watch in college hockey. And these two teams played each other on January 5th, which was yesterday. And Penn State had a 3-0 shutout win over Notre Dame. And their goaltender, Arsenal Sergeyev, he was stellar in the Frozen Confines. And I don't know if he got the start in yesterday's game against Notre Dame. But he tied his career high with 43 saves in that shootout loss to Notre Dame. So great performance for him. And takeaways from the Frozen Confines in general, I really enjoyed it. I mean, this is the first time that I have ever seen a college hockey game being played outdoors. It may have happened before. I'm not sure if we've seen college hockey games being played outdoors, but from my personal experience, this is the first time that I have ever seen a college hockey game be played outdoors. And what better way to see my first time seeing a college hockey game being played outdoors than that? The iconic Wrigley Field that's been around for over a century now. So it's an iconic baseball stadium. It is home to the MLB Chicago Cubs. And, of course, the Blackhawks had their Winter Classic there. And now the Frozen Confines come there. So it was just an all-in-all great event for college hockey and for the NHL. Even though the NHL had, like, low views for the Winter Classic and it wasn't doing as great, mostly because they had it on New Year's Eve and not a whole lot of people were watching it, mostly because they didn't know it was on, because I heard somebody say that they didn't know that there was going to be a Winter Classic game being played on New Year's Eve. So I guess some people didn't know that there was going to be a Winter Classic game on New Year's Eve, because usually it's played on New Year's Day, and it averaged low views, so that was like bad marketing for the NHL right there. But the Frozen Confines didn't disappoint, and it was way better than the Winter Classic in my opinion. So hopefully they have more outdoor games like this. They might have had more outdoor games like this in the past, but from my personal experience, first time seeing a college hockey game being played outdoors, and hopefully they have more of that next year and for many more years to come, because I think it will probably like draw more viewers in, because it certainly drew me in as well. So yeah, really looking forward to that if they do. All right, NHL games on the slate for today. So there's only 4 games on the slate, with the Washington Capitals taking on the Buffalo Sabres at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. This will air on NHL Network. This is the second of 3 meetings this season between the two teams. The Capitals won 4-2 back at Capital One Arena on December 14th, and the final meeting is on March 30th in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And then we got the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Montreal Canadiens at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. This will air on Amazon Prime for Canada residents. First of 2 meetings this season between the two teams. They will meet in Vancouver on March 11th. And then we got the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers taking on the Colorado Avalanche at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Last meeting of the season between the two teams. The Avalanche won 7-4 back in Florida on November 23rd. And then we got the New Jersey Devils taking on the Seattle Kraken at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Last meeting of the season between the two teams. The Devils won 3-2 back at home on December 6th in Newark. So we'll see if the Kraken can answer back with a win against the Devils to close out their season series. All right, guys, so that is going to do it for this episode of the Hockey Talk TG podcast. So thank you guys for tuning in as always. I know sometimes when I be talking, I be mixing up my words. I'm trying to correct myself on that and try and not talk so fast, because I am a fast talker. As you guys all know, if you do listen to this podcast regularly, you'll hear me talk fast and stuff. And I'm going to try and work on that, not to be talking so fast and just, take my time discussing the games and stuff with you guys. But anyway, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. God first as always. Be blessed. And I know WWE is having their first Raw show on Netflix. I know you guys are excited for that. I'm excited for that. I mean, CM Punk is going to be facing Seth Rollins. Hopefully CM Punk wins. I mean, from Chicago. And you guys know I'm a Chicago guy. I love watching CM Punk wrestle. So he's going to be taking on Seth Rollins in that event. And then it'll be Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa for Tribal Combat match. So I'm also looking forward to that event as well. And then there's supposed to be another one happening, but the only 2 matches I'm looking forward to for this first Raw show on Netflix is CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, and then Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa for a Tribal Combat match. And hopefully CM Punk wins that match against Seth Rollins. I love watching CM Punk, one of my favorite WWE wrestlers, and between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, hopefully Roman Reigns can come out with the win. I love watching Roman Reigns as well. Another one of my favorite WWE wrestlers. I think John Cena is going to be on the WWE Raw Netflix premiere. The Rock is going to come back on WWE Raw Netflix premiere. So really excited for that, to see The Rock come back. And then Logan Paul's going to be there as well. So it's going to be a great time in a new era for WWE Raw on Netflix. So just all in all excited. I just wanted to discuss that with you guys before I end the show. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that as well. And I'll see you guys Wednesday for another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. Take care.